my gosh.
How can I forget the trigger pad?
What happened?
How can I forget the trigger pad, right? A Memorial Day weekend happened, just like everybody else. Today we're going to talk about infotainment boosts, employee suggestions helping, and dealers making a difference. Because that's what we always talk about here, Kyle.
Look, every single day, there are dealers making a difference in the community. If just look around you, it's unbelievable. So we like to highlight it. We are
going to talk about that. We hope you had an awesome Memorial Day weekend. Kyle and I were catching up on the way in, and we did a lot of nothing.
Yeah, my family was super chill. It was gorgeous in Nashville, so we just took the time to play on the playground at the house, and play on the playground in the neighborhood, and play on the playground in one city away. And we hit all the playgrounds.
They did the tour day playgrounds.
Tour day playground day Nashville.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we just stayed home in our little corner of upstate New York. We got the old pontoon boat out for the weekend, and the weather couldn't have been better. Got to see a little Memorial Day parade, grilled a bunch, spent some time outside. We hope all of you did too. If you were open on Memorial Day, we hope you had an awesome sales day. I bet you did, because when the weather's good, people are out walking around, especially those who are looking for a good deal or want to buy a car. And if you had the day off, we hope you showed up nice and refreshed, ready to serve some people, because we're on the home stretch of May already.
Yeah. It's like that slingshot,
June,
right?
On Thursday.
Like that slingshot of the 3-day weekend and the 2-day, just rocking sales and service close. So
it is June. Good night. It's June, and we're in it. We just released a new episode of Auto Collabs, which is the podcast Kyle, myself, and Michael Cirillo host. It's always so much fun. I think we released Rick Reichert. Did we release him yesterday or on Friday, or it's out?
On Friday. It's out. It's ready to go. You can find it on all the podcast platforms.
It's a fun one.
Or ASOTube, ASOTU.be, if you want to check out the video version. So
also have a ton of amazing feedback coming in from the More Than Cars pilot episode launch. You can go to morethancars.tv to watch it and check out what we're doing with the crowdfunding, because this will be the first crowdfund project ever in retail automotive. And if you can be a part of that, even if you can just give a little, we need to get season 1 funded to, again, talk about all the awesome things dealers are doing to millions of people, not just the people in our industry, but also the people outside our industry, which is kind of the real goal, right? There's a perception thing we're trying to change.
We're trying to shift that around, rewrite it just a little bit.
I would say we're already changing it, right? Like we're trying to put a big fat dent in it. But even wearing these love people more than you love cars shirts, every single time I wear this, people who have nothing to do with the auto industry stop me and ask me what it's about. And
they're at the airport turning me around. Like, what is happening?
All the time. All right, let's talk about some news. We got a few things going on. A little bit slow coming out of Memorial Day weekend, but speaking about things that are anything but slow.
Stop. Segue. Time.
Anything but slow. And another high-tech collaboration announcement. Nvidia and MediaTek announced a landmark collaboration to power the next generation of, get this, vehicle infotainment systems. Talked about this, a similar one a little while ago, but it just seems to be doubling down with AI and immersive capabilities. The partnership aims to revolutionize the auto industry with a focus on video streaming, gaming, and interactive driving communication. So that means, yes, you're talking to your car for real, not the dumb talking to your car that happens in vehicle infotainment systems now, where you just end up yelling at it, where you press the button and you wait 3 seconds and it's like, no, and you tell it something and it gets it wrong. Yeah. Yes. You can't stop it midstream. So basically the partnership was unveiled at Computex technology trade show in Taipei, where MediaTek's going to integrate Nvidia graphic processing unit chipsets into the product that MediaTek makes. So they're using Nvidia technology in the MediaTek product. And now this stuff used to be just for real high-end vehicles like Land Rovers, Mercedes-Benz. But now this partnership, they say, is going to bring it to a whole lot more vehicles, because there are a lot of segments that don't have this as a part of it. First products in vehicles slated to be released in 2025.
I love it. This is
you
know how I feel about this. This, in my opinion, is the way that automakers need to be looking to like make sure that they're aligned with the partnerships like this that are taking place. Nvidia is probably the leading graphics provider with graphics chips in like across computers and like everything you use from technology. There's a good chance Nvidia is powering some level of the video processing power. So for MediaTek to put that into their digital displays and start to display stuff that is more like what we experience in the rest of the technology that we use, kudos. I can't wait to see more of these collabs pop up. I think automakers who are smart to connect with this and let those power their infotainment systems are going to see higher rates of adoption of their technology and their vehicles. This is a really, really key thing because historically you've looked at vehicles as like, how do they look exterior and how do they look interior? That those are kind of the two primary things. And then like third piece was what technology can I access? Like what like technology pieces? But we're going to see more and more people making buying decisions based on the infotainment system and the software provided, because the software updates that are going to be required or available need to have like core hardware components. Sorry, hardware is what they're going to be looking at, because the software layered into that hardware is going to be more and more complex. So the hardware needs to be correct so that software upgrades can come along quickly, because that's what people are going to be thinking about less and less about the hardware surrounding like vehicle mechanics or like look and feel, right? So
yeah, I mean, my 16-year-old son is like just in that moment right now when he's starting to look at like, hey, what kind of vehicle might I want? And the technology is definitely very, very, very high on the list, because a lot like it's fun watching it from his perspective, because like a lot of the small side, like the small and mid-size SUVs, they look very, very similar. Right. So it's like, what does the entertainment look like? What does the interface look like? Is it fast? Right. Is it fast?
Imagine a world where like a vehicle details page looks more like a computer shopping page on apple.com with the spec lineups. Right.
Oh, the spec.
Where like you see like the RAM and the processing
think
power
about that.
and I mean, that's
like response
that
time.
Need to do. Yeah.
I think one that most people overlook is response time. Because
Absolutely.
with Gen Z coming up in a gaming environment, in a Discord environment, they're used to really commanding their visual world, like what's going on the screens, like very, very quickly. And when there's like a half a second lag between like you pressing the button and the screen immediately responding, drives them bonkers.
Response time, refresh rates, screen, like screen DPI, all of that type of stuff, I think is going to be really key.
It sure is.
And is like, we're going to have to look at new structured data embedded into vehicle information because of technology.
And they're going to figure out which one they want on Reddit. So
there it is.
Just so you go. Speaking of response time.
Stop. Segue.
Hey, that's a good one. This is a fun one. I like a lot about this next story. A suggestion by a disabled Stellantis employee led to the company's upgrade of over 1.8 million vehicles to issue hazard alerts, highlighting the company's drive towards safety and innovation. The new feature is called HELP, which stands for Hazard Enhanced Location Protocol. Basically, what it does is if there's an emergency vehicle, there's this, I can't remember what the cloud is called. It's just like a safety cloud. We'll find safety cloud platform. Got it. When there's like an emergency vehicle or potentially soon, construction zones, there's an alert that gets sent out that if the vehicle is enabled, it can absorb those. And within, 15 or 20 seconds seeing the vehicle, it'll actually let you know on the infotainment system that, hey, there's a hazard vehicle around. Now, this driver almost hit an emergency vehicle because they couldn't hear it and they didn't know it was there. And so Stellantis did a really cool thing by setting up, they already had this in place, which is called a startup internal competition where people can make suggestions and recommendations. So this came from a real world situation. It was suggested, it was adopted. And, who was it? We got a quote here. Turpo Levensky, their manager of global innovation, said this really hit at our heartstrings. And they said, we need to implement this and do something for our customers. So this is in full effect. They said it can be implemented via, to what you were just saying, an over-the-air update. So there's so much about this story to love.
Yeah, there's a lot to love. And one, like, I like to talk about the accessibility on the web, but accessibility across everything. It's like what happens is it makes it easier for everybody. How many times, if you're slightly hard of hearing and you can't hear that, it's a massive, massive help. But even just like people that have great hearing or great eyesight to like, you never know, like radio's blasting, kids are yelling in the backseat, anything like that. And all of a sudden that quickly approaching, on the side street where the audio is not directly lined up with your car is approaching, especially in these cars that have a lot of insulation from road noise, and you just don't hear it coming on the cross street. So I think this is a massive innovation and probably clears up, just accidents, maybe makes it easier for emergency vehicles to get where they're going because they have less need to slow down because paths are cleared a lot more easily. So kudos to Stellantis for listening to an employee, putting into action, working through the R&D phase. And I can't wait to kind of see this rolled out and see. I'm sure we'll see some like YouTube reactions from it. We'll have to track this story and kind of see what happens out there in real world experiences.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of real world experiences.
Stop. Segue.
Time. Hey, Rick Cavender recently shared on LinkedIn a really, really cool thing that Cavender Auto is doing. They are working with the United Way Shoebox program, and they have set a store record for their stores. They recently filled 800 shoeboxes filled with essential items for families in need. Basically, the collective effort involved Cavender Toyota, Audi Dominion, Cavender CarQuest, Cavco Insurance, and the headquarters teams. And like, look, 800 shoeboxes of essential items for a community. That's a massive impact. And I love, working with United Way, working with the community, bringing around a little healthy competition between sub entities of a group. And then to put that out in the community, kudos to the Cavender Auto Group.
I don't want to skip over the importance of these things that we talk about. And if you don't get our daily email, we do try to include a lot of these, just quick shot hits. You can get it at asodu.com. We've internally decided we're going to celebrate as many of these things as possible because they happen so frequently and it's easy to forget about them. And, we've had some conversations with some dealers, believe it or not, who are like, we don't know that we really want to like talk about these things too much, right? Because they're just awesome people, right? They just like, no, we're just serving. We're just giving back to give back, not so that people pay attention to us. And we argue, hey, every time we talk about one of these things, it inspires somebody else to do more of the same or encourages them that they're on the right path or they're not alone. And so like when we look at this, we should all stand up and applaud anyone who's doing something like this. But as an industry, we should talk about these things even more in an environment.
And here's the thing. Don't be afraid to copy and paste the recipe of someone else.
Please do.
Don't feel like you need to just come up with some brand new way to do things that nobody else has ever thought of. Like, okay, if 800 dealerships in the country just were like, hey, maybe I've got a United Way shoebox program locally that I can partner with. Rung up the United Way people. I'm sure they'd be ready to go. Imagine United Way being like, man, we basically funded a country of essential items through the auto industry. Don't know how that happened. They're like, oh, because Cavender kicked it off and we just all fell in line. Don't be afraid to just match, right? You like do something that meets the heart of you or your people as an organization or as an employee. But at the same time, if you see something cool that someone is doing, like we highlighted in our Saturday podcast, what the crew up at West Her did with the little cars. Go rip it. Do it too.
All day.
Not a big deal.
And the nice thing is that every dealership is going to give you the playbook.
Yes.
Right? Like you don't have to go through all the hassle of just like, oh, how should we set this up? They're going to be like, here's how we did it. Here's what we stopped doing because
if you need a contact at West Her or Cavender,
please let us know.
Or anywhere, let us know. We'll dial them up. We'll get them on a 20-minute phone call. They'll give you the playbook. Guarantee it. I've seen it happen.
Oh man. Well, look, this already feels like we're going to wrap up May well. We're going to get going in June well, and we are going to make a big fat dent in the public's perception of what an auto dealer really is.